CapeCast. Folks, we here at CapeCast were thrilled to be invited on a rare tour of Penikese Island, a 75-acre wildlife sanctuary in Buzzards Bay, part of the Elizabeth Islands chain. It takes about an hour to get there by boat from Woods Hole, and as soon as we arrived, we were stunned by the beauty of this small island. In addition to being a significant state bird sanctuary, the island is home to Penikese, a small, non-profit residential treatment program for young men ages 14 to 17 with substance abuse issues. Penikese staffers were kind enough to take us on a tour of the island, and we started by climbing to the top of Cistern Hill to soak in the amazing scenery. Then, we trekked around the island to see some other interesting spots.
Well, there are a lot of really neat historic features on the island, which is one of the things that makes this a special place, the natural history as well as the social and environmental history. But these columns represent a division and a gate between what was referred to as the clean side of the island versus the non-clean when it was a leper colony in the early 1900s.
We are on the north side of the island, and this is a cemetery, and this is from when it was a leprosarium from 1907 to about 1921. Dr. and Mrs. Parker ran the hospital. My understanding, around the turn of the 20th century, if someone got leprosy, they would exile them to something like this. So this is a pretty remote area, and they were able to put them here and keep them away. There was folks from China, Japan, Cape Cod, there was Portuguese and Jewish people, and all sorts of different people here. So buried here is Frank Pina, and he was a Cape Cod resident and came out here, and you can see he passed away on the island in 1914. Last summer, we had his great-great-grandchildren come out to visit, and they visited his grave for the first time. This was a Japanese fellow who came to America to do some work and contracted the disease. He actually rowed a boat off the island and went over to New Bedford to try to get to the Japanese consul and to get back to Japan to be with his family, and then they brought him back. He was an artist, and he also took care of a lot of the birds, so he had a lot of birds out as pets and would help them when they were injured. Dr. and Mrs. Parker worked really hard to make sure that the folks that were out here suffering from leprosy were treated humanely and had a sense of community.
So behind me is what's called a glacial erratic, and this was dropped off by a receding glacier thousands of years ago. And it's, as you can see, it's very huge. It's called the Plough, and it's the second largest glacial erratic in New England.